So ayun mga kanation, nandito na tayo sa winery. Ayan. So mapasok na tayo dito. Let's go! Hello mga kanation!
I got something I gotta tell you, so get ready for another breakthrough. So let me show you what I mean.
It's a cellar for Georgian technology. It's a typical wine cellar for Georgian method. We are having 21 clay pots here. Clay pots are all the time representing Georgian technology. We call it query. So from 21 clay pots, we are having all different sizes. Means that minimum might be 1 tons capacity and maximum 3 tons. So all different sizes are here. And queries, 90% of the time it should be buried underground to have a perfect temperature for fermentation, which is from 10 to 15. In summer or in spring, it will never change, and that's why we have this buried. So, as I mentioned, we are having 2 existing technologies for winemaking. Traditional and classic names appear differently. For our technology, it's traditional KANATION or Georgian, but for European, it's classic French or European technology. But in our method, we are fermenting the wine in the clay pot, and all the leftovers, skins and seeds should be in contact with the juice. In query, we are having natural fermentation because there are a couple of millions of micro yeasts positioned on the skin of a grape, and that's why we are having natural fermentation in query. That lasts 2 or 3 weeks, maximum a month. In this period of time, we will have a full fermentation time, means that the yeast will be eating the sugar molecules and it will be converting them to the alcohol and carbon dioxide. So after we will have full fermentation, we will get the dry wine, means 0% of sugar. If all sugar is eaten, we will get the dry wine. But for European technology, they might use the oak barrels or metals. Metals, yeah, we have one of course, and metals like stainless steels. But 90% of the time, they are having just a juice in it, no any leftovers in it. That's why you can have a fermentation for a month or 6 months, because you're the one who's deciding and calculating this and adding the yeast to the juice, and you're the one who's deciding. But in query, as I mentioned, maximum a month.
So this one here, this is Georgian style.
This is Georgian style,
And
that
this
is
is
European.
European
style.
style.
Yeah, usually in
nice
barrels.
to know
European and Georgian style. Oh,
So
makanya.
what they do, they ferment inside barrels, this one inside clay pot.
Barrels or stainless tanks.
Which is the better taste, this Georgian style or the European style?
Depends on taste, of course. If you
Oh,
like
okay.
more dry, tanniny wines,
I think the
Georgian
traditional
Yeah.
one, this one.
Georgian might be the best for you if you're more
Yeah.
into dry wines.
Yeah.
If you tanniny, full, tough taste.
Careful,
What,
don't pull
what's
off.
inside?
We have wine, of course. The wine is already fermented, means that 1 month is already over here, and then we are having aging process for 5 months. The leftovers and wine should be in contact with each other and should be locked in the same clay jar for 5 months approximately. And in this period of time, the leftovers will be producing all the tannins, dry and complex tastes, and also skins are changing the color for the white grapes.
Yes.
That's
You
the
mentioned that the bacteria eats up the sugar and creates the alcohol by
Yeah,
itself.
the yeast.
That's the chemistry
The
behind.
yeast.
That's the fermentation process. The yeast is going to eat the sugar and then it's converting them to the alcohol and CO2, which is the bubbles, carbon dioxide.
Yes. And then what's left is just the alcohol.
Alcohol, because for fermentation, query stays open. We also are stirring the query
Careful, Emoy,
4 times a day, because at the bottom side of the query we have a yeast. We need to bring it up to help this bubbling process, but for aging this is closed, of course. We will waste all the CO2 that we need to go up, and only alcohol will stay here, and wine. So, in general of 6 months we are having the wine inquiry. First month fermentation and 5 months of aging process. And as I mentioned, skins, of course, it will going to change the color for white grapes, just for white grapes. That's the reason that we are having amber or orange wine all the time from Georgian technology. But from European, we will get a pale straw color or waterish color for the wine.
Another question is, you said 1 ton for 1 clay pot?
That might be minimum.
Oh, minimum.
Yeah.
This one inside?
Yeah.
So
this?
there's
You can use your flashlight and see we have amber wine already, because skins change the color.
Flash your flashlight. inside.
Amber orange wine is pretty unusual and surprising to see for many other people.
Flashlight
There are
safe.
non-Georgians, and this is Georgian technology.
Can we touch?
Of course.
Oh.
So, about the aging process. As you see, it's locked.
What's in the middle?
Yeah, first step is the glass with the clay here to seal it.
Glass lang pala.
To avoid air or oxygen to go
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Second is the soil on top of the glass to avoid pollution from lightning. And third is wood, like this, to cover it.
What's the impact of light on the bacteria? On the
Of
process?
course, the sunlight is the worst, damaging the wines, but not in our case because we're underground. But if we will have the LED lightnings, also will damage the wine. So just we should keep this in a dark place for sure for aging process. Aging process might be 3 months for red grape varieties and maximum 5 months for white grape varieties.
So you mean to say, back in the ancient times, they realized that the light has an impact on the wine?
In ancient times, they were putting big rocks here to avoid everything, but that's a better way in our case, to seal it and then to put the set. But in ancient times, that's how we're dealing with the big rocks, which is, of course, this is better way, of course, because it's developing everything for our technology.
idea.
So all of these are just initially all grapes you harvested and then you put in one...
Different
place?
grapes, one here, maybe a mixture of 2 or 3 grapes, and depends on wine. Depends
Ano yung
on-
ginagamit nilang
What's the
green
statue,
or
by the way,
ano?
the
Yeah.
face? What's the meaning of that?
This is under reconstruction as we see, but it's a statue of the protector of wine from our mythology. It's a Devi, protector of wine as I mentioned, and he's a symbol for our cellar because he's basically the most alcoholic creature in our folklore. Most craziest wine drinker, and that's a symbol for
Who is this?
That's a mythological creature, Devi, which was a protector of
Delhi?
wine from our folklore.
But you're not religious, you don't put religious connotation on your wine,
Of
right?
course, religion and Christianity is really connected to the wine in our case because to have a ritual of communion, you need
Yes,
the red,
you need the
red
red
wine, like the
Yeah.
blood of Jesus.
Yeah, we're Christian, so
We also do communion.
we do
Okay.
communion also. So
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's, once a month we do communion at the church.
This is nice.
All right. So as I
Okay.
mentioned, 6 months of
Aging.
fermentation and aging together here, and then the harvest process starts. The springtime is opening time for this after 6 months. And we will open the quarries, we will pump out the wine, and then we will have a leftover, skins and seeds, all different sediments. We will distillate all the leftovers to get chacha, if you know this drink.
No.
Chacha, it's like a vodka, but vodka, of course, it's really different because vodka is distillated from any kind of fruit, and chacha only from grape leftovers. Of course, we will get different flavors, aromas, or tastes coming from that.
So nothing's thrown away.
Yeah, nothing's.
Even
The
the waste of the grapes, you know, the skin.
seeds.
Everything we will distillate.
Voila.
This, what do you call this?
Chacha.
Cha-cha.
Cha-
It's
Cha.
like a strong, like not like spirit, but maybe 45-50%.
You also have the
Wow,
cha-cha.
then that's gonna hit
Okay,
you.
we're gonna
Yeah,
try
it's
that.
gonna
gonna
hit you.
burn your
Oh no.
organs.
50%. I mean, that's too. That's
Like
too
you
strong.
know, vodka you might see 45%, which chacha also we might see, but also I think it's really different for tastes.
Okay.
We're not really, alcohol drinkers. We're just curious, you know.
Really nice.
So you have to just introduce us to the mild ones.
That's my job,
I'll
so-
allow my kids to drink, but just for
See-
curiosity.
Anything that you wish, of course. It's my job to explain everything.
We,
about
we,
this.
we've tried the German sweet wines before, and I don't know what other Georgian wine tastes.
What can you recommend us? Is it sweet or dry?
If you're not used to
We're not used at all.
then stem sweets, of course,
Okay.
or sweet wines.
Okay,
ones,
let's
we
try.
Because-
try the sweet ones.
I like stem sweets for some time, and now I like more tannin query ones because query might be a little more tough taste for you because we are having aging process. It's full with tannins, so that's unique to something to get used
Yeah,
to.
we
you
don't
know?
want the bitter one or the strong one. We just want to have a
Yeah,
taste.
question for like him that he has high blood pressure.
Mhm.
What can you recommend? Is it white or red?
The red dry wines are best for it. If you
Oh,
drink,
red and
even
dry.
like doctors are saying, if you drink until you sleep 1 glass, not
Yeah.
like every day, but
Not like you finish the whole bottle.
but for some time, it's giving you, it's best for that, for blood pressure.
Ah,
It's the
okay.
best.
The red one.
Red dry wine.
Red dry.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna
So,
try that.
I think you might understand how the semi-sweet wines are made, because, as I mentioned, from full fermentation we'll get the dry wine. If all sugar is eaten, we will get the dry wine. But if you want to make semi-sweet or semi-dry or sweet wine, we will stop fermentation a bit early until the yeast will be eating the sugar. So we will keep the sugar to stop fermentation. We will lower down the temperature to -5 Celsius for the barrel to stop yeast from bubbling, to stop fermentation, and that's how we will get less alcohol for wine, but more sugar. Semi-sweet, semi-dry, or sweet wines. That's how. It's only possible from European technology. Because if you want to stop fermentation, as I mentioned, you have to lower down the temperature. It's artificially not possible for clay pots.
For the clay.
So only dry wines from Query, semi-dry, semi-sweet, sweet wines, any kind of sweetish wines from European technology.
So the clay pot really stabilizes the temperature.
Of course, from 10 to 50. And another pride for our company, the wine that our company is famous for, we are having the very first sweet wine from Georgian technology. Have you anytime heard about ice wine? What's
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
we
what
tried that
we
in
tried
Rhine Valley.
You tried?
Right Valley in
Yeah.
Germany.
It's really amazing that today we had a harvesting for frozen grapes. Today,
Oh yeah,
that's what
I
they
heard.
have.
today like
We
six.
They have
tried
to
that,
wait for it to be
Riesling.
Riesling.
The brand, the ice wine. We tried the Riesling brand.
Okay,
Okay. But we already tried the ice wine.
ice wine, of course, this was from European technology. Not of course, but I think. But we are the first ones to produce any kind of semi-sweet, sweetish wine from Georgia.